What's up YouTube? Nick here from My World is Square, here with another episode of Is It a Read? This time I am doing Tony Robbins' new book, Money Master the Game. So this is one of the biggest books I've ever read. It's actually over 600 pages, so there's a lot of stuff that I'm not going to be able to mention in the video because there's just so much in the book that it's not all going to fit in the video. So even after watching this, I still highly recommend that you go read the book because there's just so many things in there that I can't even cover in this video. So this is not only one of the biggest books I've ever read, but it's also one of my favorite books because Tony Robbins is just such an amazing person, and like I've watched dozens, if not hundreds of hours of his videos after spending hours reading the book. And he's helped so many people that I can't think of anybody in the entire world who has helped more people and done more good than Tony Robbins has. So the first major point to this book is making the most important financial decision of your entire life, which is what percentage of your income are you going to invest for the rest of your life. Second major point he makes in this book, he talks about the 9 myths that everybody will tell you that are not true. First myth is invest with us. We'll beat the market. This is not true. This is talking about like mutual funds who say that they can beat the market. Statistically, 96% of mutual funds fail to beat the market. Only 4% of mutual funds actually do better than the market. The second myth is that fees don't matter. Fees really do matter. The market usually only goes up 6 or 7% on average in a year. If their fees are 2%, then that brings your growth, or the amount you get to keep, up by only 4 or 5% instead of 6 or 7. And adjusted for inflation, which is usually about 2%, that means you're only making about 2% return on your investment a year instead of 4 or 5%. That's almost half of your total return that they're taking in fees. Third myth is what you see is what you get. Now this is not completely true because if a mutual fund says that they have a 10% return for the past 4 years in a row, everyone who's been invested in that mutual fund didn't necessarily make that 10%. First of all, because of the fees I just mentioned, but also because a lot of people, when they see the market going up, or when they see that mutual fund going up, they will buy it then. And then when they see it going down, they'll get scared that it's going to crash and they'll sell. So they oftentimes lose money because they're investing based on their emotions. The fourth myth is I'm your broker and I'm here to help you. Your stockbroker is not there to help you. They are there to make money off of your investments, to take a percentage, to take their cut of everything you make. That's why they're there, not to help you make money. The fifth myth is retirement is just a 401k away. I'm not really a fan of a 401k because like even though a lot of people are, like in the long run, you would be much better off investing in a Roth IRA or even in a personal investment account. Like if you just open a TD Ameritrade or Robinhood account or whatever brokerage account you want to go with, if you just open an account there, you'll likely make a lot more money than you would putting it in a 401k. There's a lot of reasons why this is, and I don't have the time to go into all of it. It'd be a whole video just explaining this. But generally, a 401k is not the best idea. Sixth myth is just invest in target date funds, and by the time you're ready to retire, you'll have the money you need to retire. This is not true because even the name implies that it's a target date fund, not necessarily what's going to be there. Just because they're designed to try to get you to that amount of money, nobody knows what the market's going to do. It could go down or it could go up. You could have a 30% crash the year before you're going to retire, and then you have to wait 3 or 4 years for it to come back up before you can retire. So don't think that just because it's a target date fund that it says you're supposed to be able to retire on that day, that you actually will be able to. Seventh myth is I hate annuities and so should you. I actually don't remember when an annuity is, so I am just going to skip this one. Eighth myth is that you have to take big risk to get big return. This is not true. You can really easily get a really high return without taking big risk. In the book, he describes a friend of his who taught his sons this lesson by teaching them to invest in nickels. Yes, the little coins, nickels. Because the nickels, because of the size of them, they actually have more metal inside of them. The scrap value of the material in them is actually worth more than 5 cents. So he told them to invest in nickels so that if anything ever happened, the worst thing that could happen is that they turn them back into cash as nickels. The best thing that could happen is if the dollar collapses and there's no more money, they could melt them down into just their metal and sell the metal for more than the coins were actually worth originally. The ninth and final myth is the lies we tell ourselves, our own limiting beliefs. It's not always other people who are tricking us into losing money and stuff. Oftentimes it's actually ourselves, our own disbelief and our own unwillingness to actually take that leap of faith and do what needs to be done. When you tell yourself that something is impossible, you're putting it on a shelf that's too high for you to reach. You are making it impossible for you because your mind can no longer ever come up with a solution to solve that problem because it thinks it's impossible. Third main thing that he talks about in his book is the 4 ways to invest more than you're already investing. First way is to save more. Find ways to make budget cuts and live on less than you're already living on and invest the difference. Second one is to earn more. When you get a raise or move to a job that pays better, instead of using that extra money to increase your standard of living, instead try using it to invest so that you can retire earlier. The third one is to reduce taxes and fees. If you're paying less in fees and taxes, then you have more to invest. And the fourth one is to get better returns, to learn to be a better investor and make more money on the money you've invested, to get a higher rate of return. The fourth major point of this book is he gives an asset allocation that he actually got from a man named Ray Dalio, who I guess is like one of the top 0.01% investors. He owns a private investor mutual fund that he doesn't even accept new people for him to manage their money anymore. When he was accepting new clients, you needed like $10 million for him to even consider managing your money for you. And he gave Tony Robbins this remarkable, amazing, all-season asset allocation. It's called the all-season strategy because it's designed to make money no matter what the market is. And when tested over the past 100 years, it made an average of 10% return every year for the past 100 years. There was only 3 years in the past 100 that it actually lost money, and it was only a couple percent. The allocation is 40% in long-term bonds and 30% in stocks. This is crazy. Like, everybody puts more than 30% in stocks when investing huge amounts of money. He is one of the only people that tell people to invest this little in stocks. And the reason is because stocks are a lot more risky. So he's balancing the risk of the investment, not the return. So after this, you put 15% into intermediate bonds. You put 7.5% into gold and silver, and the final 7.5% you put into commodities. At the end of the book, he introduces 13 of the richest people that he interviewed while making this book. They're all like in the top 0.001% of the richest people in the whole world. I'm not going to go through the whole list now, but it did include Ray Dalio, who gave the all-weather strategy that I just shared with you, and it also included Warren Buffett. So for a rating, I'm going to have to give this book 10 stars because, like I said, it's one of the most amazing books I've ever read, and Tony Robbins is one of the most amazing people I've ever heard of, read about, or seen on TV. He's just an amazing person, and so I would highly recommend you read this book. Even after seeing this video, there's just so many things that I couldn't even cover in this video. So even with all the things I did share with you, I still highly recommend you read the book. Thank you for watching this episode of Is It a Read? Thank you for watching all the way to the end, especially. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. And if you want to see more videos like this, be sure to click that subscribe button and click the little bell too so that you get updates when I upload new videos.